Stand by. We are Things I Found Online with Joe Cipriano. Ooh, I like him. Larry Morgan, in absentia. Louise Palanker, the beautiful Lisa Arch.
Aww.
Also the beautiful Louise Palanker. And the stunning special guest from Jane the Virgin, Anthony Mendez. Prepare yourself. Radio and television legends are exploring the internet. Louise?
That's our mission statement, Joe.
It is. It's a good one.
Let's hope we can live up to it. Oh, we've got so much exploring to do, though.
Oh, my.
That even if we don't uncover any gems, it will have been the adventure that will have been making it worth it, correct?
That is true.
That's a past perfect sentence. Hey, Anthony Mendez.
Yes, Anthony.
Hello,
Thanks for
everybody.
dropping by.
I was just driving by. I said, let me stop at this house.
So smart.
You have good instincts.
Yeah.
So,
And he smells good, too.
oh, he smells wonderful.
Thank you.
And Anthony, we're so excited to have you with us. But do you know how we initiate guests?
No, I'm afraid to ask.
Well,
I don't even know. So
brace yourself.
Here we go.
We Google them.
Oh, we Googled them.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Phew.
So can you please Google Anthony Mendez?
Anthony
That's
Mendez.
M-E-N-D.
M-E-N-D. What?
Yeah.
No,
M-E-N.
M-E-N.
And there's Anthony. There he
Easy.
is. He's
Hey, look at that.
very handsome.
Anthony Mendez.
Yeah.
I paid a lot for that suit,
Nice.
just so I can show up on Google.
He's a voiceover actor.
And then go ahead and can you find his website? It's on there. You can. One of the first search results would be.
That is a good suit,
the
Anthony.
It is a
Thank
nice.
you.
I remember that picture.
Click on.
Was that something that you got? I know you really spiff up really good for the Emmy Awards.
Yeah, that was. I
Yeah.
think that was for one of the Emmy
Oh, the
parties.
Emmy Awards,
Yeah,
okay.
it was
He's
for
a
the Emmy parties.
Two-time, two-time Emmy nominee.
So
And
so
loser.
here's Anthony's website. Look at that. That's
that's
what's
cool.
what's the platform that you use to make your website?
I use certain themes for WordPress.
Oh, WordPress. Okay,
Yeah.
I really like it. All right, go ahead and click on the About.
All right.
Because Joe has some selected highlights to read to you.
I do. Anthony Mendez is a voiceover actor. We knew that. With an impressive list of credits to his career, including on-air promos. We worked together at the Don LaFontaine Voiceover Lab
That's
on
right.
promos. Movie trailers, TV commercials in both English and Spanish. And you know what? That's when you've really hit it. Because you can make $1 million doing English, and then you just make another million
doing Spanish.
Doing Spanish
Amazing.
promos. He has written and is currently working on a TV pilot inspired by his own life experiences of growing up in the Headstone business. We have got to talk about that.
That's
But
amazing.
with a supernatural twist. It's called Mike Tomb. He hopes to have it adapted into a serialized in motion comic book. His breakthrough role came, and this is amazing, as the Latin lover narrator that Lise, you just
I'm so
loved.
obsessed.
On Jane the Virgin, which earned him 2 consecutive Primetime Emmy nominations in 2015 and 16 for Outstanding Narrator.
So deserved.
Yes.
Thank you.
And as I said, he spiffs up really nice for those.
So Anthony, imagine if you will that we are an episode of Jane the Virgin. Could you please kind of like get us to this moment?
Oh, my.
So, by way of exposition.
Unfortunately, when I made a pit stop to change my tire, 3 strangers came out of a house to help me. It didn't go so well.
All right.
the
No,
best you
okay.
got.
I'm going to be really honest with you. I wrote something.
Oh, you did?
I wrote
You
something
wrote
for Anthony to say.
This is not your voiceover,
Let me just say-
your phone machine, is it?
No, it's not.
No.
Okay, here's the thing. Listen, I'm an actress.
Yes.
I'm in this business. I've met people.
You're
I know
vaping.
things.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the thing. I was never into never saw an episode of Melrose Place or 90210. I was never into those shows at all my friends were. I couldn't care less. So I've never really watched a soap opera, you know what I mean? Like an evening soap opera. Primetime soap opera. So I started watching Jane the Virgin, and I watched all of season 1 on Netflix or Amazon.
yeah.
Okay, so on Netflix,
Yeah.
all in 2 days. Then season 2 came out, and anyway, I've seen every single episode. I'm ashamed at myself for 2 weeks ago when I was here. We were talking about being a fangirl.
Fangirls, sure.
Yes.
How I didn't mention Jane the Virgin
Yeah.
is beyond me. Number 1. And number 2, the whole shipping thing. We were talking about when people take people
Right.
and make
Yes.
relationships.
Yeah.
Right.
Relationship. yeah.
Jane in the show in seasons 1 and 2, there's a whole thing where she's either going to be with Raphael or
That's
she's
right.
going to be with Michael.
Yeah.
How did I not bring that up?
Yeah,
I
that's
just-
interesting.
Lisa, I don't have an explanation.
I'm
Lisa actually
ashamed.
said this all to me on the way walking in here
Yes.
from
Yeah.
the parking lot.
'Cause
by
I-
way of
So-
exposition.
I'm ashamed. So I found out Anthony was going to be here. I freaked out. Louise was like, "You can't come today. We're very busy." I still showed up.
I told her not to come.
And I wrote this so that
see.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yes. I love
fulfill
this.
a
Okay.
fantasy of mine.
I appreciate that because
Oh,
usually
wow.
my
You
improv
gave
thing
him
doesn't work.
copies.
Yes,
Yeah, I gave him
look at
copies.
that.
Intrigued.
This is very expensive, by the way. This copy.
Yeah.
No shit, man.
I'm kidding.
We have to get the union
Wait.
contract out.
Lisa has to put her phone
I'm
on
gonna
record.
this.
Okay.
I'm
Yes,
not going to
yes.
She
sell
doesn't
it.
quite trust
I won't-
Thomas
I
or
won't
John.
Oh my
post
God! Oh,
it.
you're going to
Alright.
videotape this?
Oh, here. Oh, a show within a
Alright.
show.
Okay, here we go.
When Lisa Arch was 9 years old, her Jewish grandmother told her to remain a virgin until she was married. Then they both had a good laugh. What Lisa didn't know was that one day her career would lead her to a room with white couches, where she'd be sitting across from a man she listened to every Monday night on Jane the Virgin. I think it's Monday. Now it's actually Friday. It's usually on her DVR. Either way, what Lisa also didn't know was that this man was harboring a secret love for her, even though she was married to a man who was 6'3" and a 10-year-old son. I know, right? Straight out of a telenovela.
Damn, 6'3".
Wow.
Yeah, I married a large man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was
I'm
amazing.
hooked. I'm in.
I'm
That was
schwitzing from that.
Damn good,
But
Anthony
I'm not.
Mendez.
I didn't. I think I missed. I'm not married to my 10-year-old son.
Yeah, there was
No,
something
yeah,
there.
but
that
yeah.
was- that was-
I
that
was
noticed
my
that.
bad.
Oxford
Yeah.
comma
You know
was
what?
in there.
Yeah,
Pick up.
we'll fix that in post.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
So thank you for lending yourself and your talents to us
Thank you.
because we feel charmed and honored.
Thank you for
And-
getting me out of the house. As Joe knows, this is a very lonely business.
Yeah, voiceover.
It is. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about that later on in
Yeah.
the show. But before we get to that, we have to sort of kind of explore what's going on with Jane the Virgin and the narrator. Apparently, there's a lot of rumors about, who maybe the narrator could be. I guess one of the rumors that is addressed on bustle.com. I read a lot of bios of you over the weekend, Anthony, so I am well
Thank you.
versed.
Wow.
Yes.
Stalker.
And I know that a lot of the rumors, even you were sort of pointing to, that the narrator may turn out to be. Go ahead.
Do you have to be careful what
I
you say?
do a little bit,
Yeah.
only because by now I kind of know
Oh.
or feel that I know, although I could be wrong. Jenny hasn't told us, or
You're-
Jenny hasn't told anybody. She
You're a
definitely
few
hasn't told
episodes
me.
in from where we are watching, right?
Yeah,
Many,
yeah.
probably
We start. I just did episode 7, the prelims anyway. We do pickups and stuff after that, but I
Right.
just did episode 7 today, and I think 4 have aired.
No.
Yeah,
Have 4 aired?
4 aired this season. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Get that DVR
I
cranking.
think 4 have aired.
Oh, they're
I'm almost
cranking.
there.
No,
think
I
4 have
haven't
aired.
missed an episode.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but
according to
anyway,
the internet, before you walked into the studio today, the rumors were that the narrator may turn out to be Baby Mateo. I don't think I'm
That's
giving
what some
anything.
people. No, yeah,
That's
some
a-
people are
that's a
saying
theory.
that.
Right.
It's a theory.
I kind of. I haven't debunked that theory because I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But I would have to say that if he is Mateo grown up, he must have been in a foreign exchange program where he was over in Spain for a while or the Central America, because
Well,
where would his
Wouldn't have
accent?
the accent.
That's
Right.
There's a
Accent.
theory about that on Reddit
Oh,
that
really?
explains that. Yes, which is why we're going to do a deep dive into Reddit after we kind of
Yes.
get going here. So I
There's
can,
always deep
After
we
all,
dives
can,
into
we
this
can
is
stuff.
go.
things we
Reddit's.
found online.
This is things we found online.
That's
So we
true.
found this online. If you want to click on Reddit,
Oh, okay. Let's go to Reddit.
and then we can go around the room and read different posts,
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
beginning
Oh.
with Joe.
Should I feel like an idiot for not thinking the narrator was anyone but the narrator? Am I dumb for
He
that?
he is somebody related to the
because he knows
somebody
so
on
He
the
knows
cast,
a lot.
about
But
the
I just
story.
He
thought
knows
that
so
was
much, but
like
he
the
doesn't
voice
at the
of-
same
Voice
time.
of
At the same
God.
token,
God,
yes.
Voice of God.
truly.
God knows a lot.
I don't think Jenny would just arbitrarily put a narrator on a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's interwoven.
Everything has to have a reason for her.
All right, I'm going to kick it
Yeah.
off.
I'm
So the
dumb.
first post starts with, and this started this thread on Reddit. So in tonight's episode, the narrator said that Xiomara, I'm probably not rolling my R
Sho-
properly enough,
Oh, yeah.
Xiomara.
Yeah, Xiomara. Yeah.
looked perfect, at least to the people who loved her most, which includes me. So we know it's someone really important in her life. My guess? No, how do you say the nickname?
Yeah.
Zoe.
Zoe's father. That would explain the accent, too. I know a lot of us think it's Mateo, but he wouldn't have an accent.
Yes, which
Yeah.
Zoe's father, his name was Mateo.
Right.
Right. The
So-
father was
right.
Mateo.
Yes.
Right.
So it's
All
also
right.
Mateo.
Is
so-
that the grandfather then?
Yeah, the grandfather.
Alba's
Yeah.
husband.
But you know
Yes.
what? Here's something
Well, Joe,
interesting.
continue with the thread.
I feel like he said certain things like commentating on a hot guy that made me think he was gay. Other than that, I really like this current theory.
Yeah, that is true. He does
Yeah.
like the dudes on
Yeah, like
the, on the show.
well,
which,
maybe he appreciates
which-
aesthetically everybody.
and that also ties into who I think he is as well.
Okay, you're next.
Yeah.
Lexon?
Lexon the City.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
technically, Rogelio makes comments that he could be interpreted in the same way, but we definitely know that he loves women. Maybe it's more of a vanity thing. After last night's finale and his comments about Zoe during their wedding really made me think it was Zoe's father. However, they did pan to little Mateo after that was said, so I don't know. But he doesn't really love women in that way. He loves women as in he supports all the women's narratives on the show. Even sometimes even Petra, he's empathized with her in moments.
Right.
Yeah.
Lisa?
I don't have that page
Oh, you
because
don't.
you told me
There
not
you
to
go.
come. Thank you. So it's with Roe, that one.
Yeah.
Well, technically.
Yeah.
Oh no, with
Roe,
Roe.
it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh my God! See, this is why I think I am totally old and wrong for this show. Is I don't know what OTT means.
Other than that,
Oh my
there you go,
God!
Laura.
I'm
See,
so
we're
lame.
in Reddit and we're learning. We're here to learn.
Yeah.
I spend way too
and
much
again,
time on
you
the
always
internet.
point
Yeah.
out that it's good that I need to learn.
Yeah.
like
Plus,
most
I think
of our
you do
audience.
have this page, and I did tell you to
I
come. And it's on the
don't.
flip side of the other page.
Nope, I don't have that page. Gosh
Let's
darn
not
it,
get
my
into a
microphone.
fight here.
Lisa and I are having our first fight.
Aw, I still love you.
I love
Oh,
you.
you two are so sweet.
With Roe, it makes sense given how. What is it again?
other than that,
Other
Other
than
than
that,
that.
and vain he is. What does it mean when
other
somebody
than,
is other
isn't
than
that other than that?
Other than that, yeah.
Oh, over the top.
OTT.
How over the
over
top.
the
My
top.
bad.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
you know
I
what?
think I
That
just got a down on Reddit.
I'm down with OTT.
Yeah.
I am down with OTT.
All right, with
wheeze.
Roe, it makes sense given how over the top and vain he is. It just doesn't jive with what they've shown us of Mateo Sr. so far. Definitely not ruling him out, but I did think it was a gay character or a more flashy telenovela star or something.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
This is from Queen Hippo. I like your screen name, but I can't pronounce it.
Yeah.
I think it's Grandpa Mateo, but IDK, if he's still alive, or more a looking down from heaven kind of thing, probably the latter.
Yeah. And then somebody said, Citago says definitely looking down from heaven. Do you feel it could be that, Anthony?
Oh, he's going to be so careful because he knows more than he can say.
Yeah, I have to tell you,
Okay.
in terms of the gay thing
Yeah.
and whether or not he likes women, I can tell you that he likes the men. Like he admires the men physically and everything. He supports the women's narrative, but he's not technically, when we find out who he
Right.
is, he's technically not gay, if I
Yeah.
can. And anyway, as far as I know, I'm almost. I think I'm 90% right who the narrator is in terms of, because I've been working with this
Sure.
narrative for so long, and
Yeah.
I pick it apart. But I don't want to know at
All
this
right.
point because I
If
don't
you'd
want
like,
it to
with this
change.
thread, we can jump to the last one from
Okay.
Leave It Corputun. All the letters in the alphabet typed in,
Yes.
in this order.
It's you know what? I had this person as a taxi driver in New York City.
'Cause I
If you
like this
can
theory.
see it up
Levi
on the-
Corputani.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's either her dad or grown-up Mateo.
her dead dad.
Her dead dad, thank you. Or grown-up Mateo putting on a silly voice for his kids.
See, there's a theory, right?
There's a theory.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way you say Mateo.
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 yeah.
Dale.
Yeah.
So, what is your family's background and your nationality?
My parents are from the Dominican Republic.
Mm-hmm.
When my dad came here, like many immigrants, his first job was in a factory. He ended up coincidentally landing in a Headstone factory. So he learned the craft and then he started his own business and that kind of.
And was
he
this in
raised a
Jersey?
family.
Did they go right to Jersey?
It was in New York 1st, yeah. Washington Heights, which is little Dominican Republic, where a lot of Dominican immigrants land.
I have a little headstone question. What do you do in the event of a typo?
That's a good question.
That's good.
In the event of a typo, they can either there's three things you can do. Number one, you can replace the headstone.
Mm-hmm.
If it was the company's fault, they'll replace it at no cost.
Mm-hmm.
You can reface the headstone, which is sometimes they rub it down
So you
enough
buff-
to the
buff
depth.
it?
Yeah, you
White
basically
out.
buff it deep enough.
White out.
Grind it
Up
out.
to where the sandblasting is.
out.
Or there are other tricks where you can replace
Mm.
certain parts that aren't really visible to
It probably
layman.
depends on how well loved the person was.
Yeah.
Like maybe the family will
So
just go, it
you-
says
Yeah, let's
the
just
wrong
go with
name.
it, yeah.
Whatever.
You wouldn't have one of those like whiteout strips that they used to have.
It also
at
depends on
typewriters.
the kind of headstone. Some of them are etchings and stuff like that.
I think
so.
you could fix them all just by getting like a bumper sticker that says "World's Best Grandpa" and just
yeah, they should allow that. Yeah, but unfortunately, every cemetery has regulations, and that might be a loophole though. Bumper stickers. I don't know.
Bumper stickers might make it.
We have to take a look.
I hear they're now starting to do headstones where you can hit a button and there's like a recording that the
Video
person made.
and voice.
I don't want to
there's
see
there's a
that.
couple different things that I get weird with headstones. There is a
Yeah.
guy. I mean, this is kind of sad and kind of cool at the same time, which is basically the headstone business.
Yeah.
There's a cemetery. I think it's Rosedale Cemetery, where the story goes that it was the son on his prom got into a car accident with the car that his dad had just given him, or that his dad had promised him a car and then he died before, or whatever. The dad commissioned a hand carving full size of the Mercedes-Benz that he was.
Oh, my.
So if you look it up, Rosedale Cemetery, Mercedes-Benz headstone or carving,
my
you'll see the
gosh.
picture.
You guys
And
want to try that? Try looking that up. What are the search words?
it's Rosedale Cemetery.
Rosedale Cemetery.
Yeah, in New Jersey, and it's basically a Mercedes-Benz hand carving. Supposedly, the guy had enough money where he had Mercedes lend him the specs or the drawing for the hand carving to do it.
Oh my God.
Or
That's
something like that. Yeah, so
insane.
it's sad, but when you see it, it's super cool the way it was done.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if we can find that. And in the meantime, you guys shared with me some information about Twitter and how it's feeling about the narrator.
Oh, what's
Oh,
that?
there it
Look at
is.
that. There it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Wow.
that's pretty good, guys. Wow,
that's nice.
look at that.
And that's the headstone.
That's the actual headstone.
Mercedes-Benz
on the
tombstone.
plots. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's like beyond a vanity plate. That's like
Yes.
a
Yeah,
vanity
that's
tomb plate.
Yeah, that's next level right there.
That is.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for finding that,
Good
Thomas.
find, guys.
Yeah, man.
So-
that's amazing.
How much do you watch online how fans are reacting to the show and to your character?
Probably too much.
Too much. Okay. A little obsessive.
A little bit.
Okay.
Bit. Yeah. The Google alerts are getting kind of. I used to have Google alerts.
Oh, yeah.
That said Anthony Mendez narrator, so that every time something pops up, I can secretly read about myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But now I just have kind of like Google alerts that say like I hate the narrator and annoying narrator and stuff like that because it's a little bit more fun.
Funny.
It is. Yeah.
It keeps you grounded.
Okay.
And it's a little bit
do you
more
have
fun.
any? Do you have anything that you could show like that?
I have. Well, there were a couple tweets that I saw online
Do
about
we
the
have them,
narrator.
guys?
Yeah, we
think
have
you
some.
have
We
those-
think we have
those
some of those
tweets.
tweets.
Yeah.
But my kids also keep me grounded too because, they don't really watch Jane the Virgin. They were a little young when they started for the topics, and they always tell me. We were riding in the car one day, and one of my like HBO promo radio spots came on, and they were not impressed. I was like, "That's Daddy." He was like, "Okay," and they were like, "I'm famous," and they were
Yeah.
like, "And nobody knows it."
And nobody
Yeah,
knows it.
and then I told her, "But I have a TV show, and I have a YouTube channel." So it's like so they keep me
True.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
How
neck and
about
neck.
that?
Yeah.
But it is true that most kids are probably not impressed anymore
They're not,
if you're on television or anything because they're like, so
They are impressed when other people are impressed. Like, for example, if they would have been here when you told me that you were a fan,
right.
Yes.
that excites them.
Okay,
Okay.
You
that
know.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Yes.
what about Garrett when he sees you on TV and you're
Does
in
he
a,
like that?
He's kind of over it. It
Yeah.
makes him happy. Well, I'll tell you, I play a lot of bad guys, and he doesn't like that.
Okay.
He's kind of over it.
Mommy,
And
don't be bad.
Well, yeah, he's just like, he's actually said to me, why don't you let the producers know that you're a good person?
Oh my god!
And I said, because I'm not. No, so
Now come over here.
So,
Dun, dun,
yeah, but it's the same. Because I do so many kids shows that when kids come up to me,
But they're
he
funny bad
loves
guys.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're always funny, and
Yeah.
they have a heart of gold somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, the good writers will give you a heart of gold.
Right,
Yeah, we were
Exactly.
just talking before the show about how really good characters are complicated.
Yes.
The good people and the marginal people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like real
well,
life,
everybody
yeah.
on Jane the Virgin is complicated.
Yes,
They
yes.
all are kind of selfish and self-involved.
Yes, but there's always a
But
reason.
they're
So-
also good, and they care about each other.
So
and-
before we read through the mean tweets, and I may need Thomas or John to read them because I'm too far away from the screen to see them, but who did you want to ship on Jane?
Oh, as much as Raphael is magnificent, and
Yeah.
I think he's turned over a new leaf, and he's a good guy, but
Yeah.
he's not totally a good guy. I was very, very much for Michael. So when they got together, I was very happy. And then he died.
And then he died.
Yay!
And then he
Now
passed away.
I saw a picture of him saying like goodbye. It was his last day
Yeah.
before I saw that episode. So I was
Oh, that's messed up.
Oh,
Yes.
bummer.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
pissed.
alert.
Yes.
Uh-oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
What do we have?
Good with what?
Oh, tweets.
Okay, go ahead. You want to read the tweets?
Can you see them?
I can't see them, no.
John,
Those
you
are
can read them.
far away.
Go ahead, John.
Let's see.
Well, that is far
I call
away.
these, by the way, instead of mean tweets, because I like to put, I like to think positive. I call them tweets of joy.
There you go.
Because
that.
whoever, if you take the time to say something like this, you got to be passionate.
How about like
true.
instructive
Yeah.
tweets?
Instructive tweets.
What does that one say?
Here it says, hashtag Jane the Virgin is kind of growing on me. I could deal without the narrator.
Yeah, that's actually very endearing for me
See,
because
even the mean tweets are kind of like, point of contention regarding such. I mean, they're
Right.
just not, they're not that mean.
they're not.
do.
Yeah, that's why I call them tweets of joy because you know what? When somebody says Jane the Virgin is growing on me,
Yeah.
that means secretly that despite how they feel about the narrator, the
Right.
narrator is still growing on you. So
True.
gotcha. You know?
Yeah, it's
Psych.
Yeah.
The
All right.
show would not be the show without the narrator. That's all
Right.
I'm going to
Oh,
say.
absolutely.
It's a whole other
well, this
show.
and that's
It
why he's
sets the
been
tone.
nominated twice
Yeah.
for
sets
Emmys.
the
Yeah.
tone.
Yeah.
Okay, so
What's the next
does
one?
anybody have a French Google?
No.
Oh.
Is this a French tweet?
Yeah, this is the French
Do
one.
not tell me what this means.
He doesn't
because
wanna know.
I feel really good about this tweet. For some reason, this tweet to me, it's French. They mentioned the narrator and
Yeah.
the show, so it automatically elevates it.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
that's how we
Can
are.
you read it
Americans
though? Because
love-
I may just understand it because I
Sheet.
I
I
do-
think sheet is in it.
I do understand French.
Merde.
it's shite.
Not a shite.
Or shiza.
That's not French.
Go ahead, Joe. You'll be good for this.
No, go ahead. I can't even see it from here.
J'ai pas mal. Hashtag Jane the Virgin. Ma sieste pas chante la narration.
Oh, they are in love with you.
See?
Really?
I told you.
Yeah.
Don't tell me because I
Okay,
think
we
that,
don't want- yeah.
I think that's what it means. I mean,
I love that French people are watching. That's all I need.
Actually, I
Yes.
Google translated this.
Okay.
But even the Google translation, I translated it. And what it really says, and don't correct me, people that know French,
Right.
is that I was bored one evening and my life was going to shit.
Oh. Shit was in there.
Until I discovered Jane the Virgin and its narrator.
And it's narrator.
Yay.
That's what I.
That is uncannily
that's
accurate.
fantastic.
Go with that.
I'm gonna go with that. Yeah.
All right, how about the next one?
I'm sorry. I find this Latin lover narrator very annoying.
How do they know you're a lover? It's
That's what I'm saying. I like that.
They got that much out of it.
I like it. That's a person that actually made an effort to understand what I was saying.
Right.
Because the only way that they would know that it's a Latin lover narrator is if they put the subtitles on it. Because at the opening of the show, it says narrated by.
Yeah.
In the script, it says Latin lover narrator because that is the character's name. So when you put the subtitles on, it does say. So they made the effort to understand me. And I
Right.
appreciate that.
There
I
you
thought
go.
they
See
could
that?
just hear the love
Again.
making in your voice.
Well,
Yeah, it is pillow talk. I
got
always
that.
said that my approach is basically pillow talk
Pillow
or pillow talk storytelling.
these are tweets of joy.
They are tweets of joy.
Yeah.
They bring me a lot of joy.
It's
Next one?
shocking to me how different your real voice is from the voice you
Is it
use
really?
on the
Yeah.
show.
That's
It's
how good he
shocking.
is.
Well, and you should
This is
hear
actually
him.
my accent. My show voice is my real voice. It's just that when I order Starbucks, it takes them forever.
Smart.
That's like
When I
Donald
go.
Trump trying to convince us that the fake news is the real
Now, wait a
news.
minute.
I don't know.
When you order at Starbucks, have you ever gone in and used the Latin lover
No,
narrator voice?
however,
Oh, that would
I,
be
would be
so
I
good.
do plan on setting up a camera and doing drive-through ordering that way.
Oh, yes.
And then showing up and just speaking my regular voice.
That's
See what happens. Yeah.
amazing.
People might not care, but you know.
Oh, I
Oh,
think
they
that
would.
it'll make an impression
I
for
think
sure.
What do we
Sure.
got, John?
animal style.
The narration in the Here we go. This is a serious one. These an expletive, which
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do a gentle version of
Cover
the
your ears, Jasper.
It says the narration at the beginning of every episode is so effing annoying.
Wow.
I can't hashtag Jane the Virgin.
This one is good.
This is
one is
good.
really good because the beginning is just a recap, and not everybody likes recaps.
Right.
So at least it was
True.
just a beginning, which means it's only 140 characters. They weren't allowed to put the rest of what they meant.
Right, all the
But the rest
joy.
of the show, I love.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you talk all the way through it.
Yes, and they didn't include it in their tweet, unfortunately.
I don't want
So-
to
They couldn't
bum
fit it
your
in.
high, but I think they probably just turn it off after that beginning.
No,
part.
no, 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 no.
Okay,
That never
all right,
happens. No,
if they're
no,
going to
no, no.
see, Anthony's point is if they're going to bother to tweet.
Then they
Yes.
must be watching.
They
You're
gotta
right.
be
They're
watching.
hate watching is
They're
what
hate
they're
watching.
doing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're hate
Yes.
watching, but that's still watching.
It's still
That's
watching.
They're
still
watching.
eyes on
That's
the show.
right.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
like if you're going to burn a book, you still have to buy the book.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Very good point.
All right, what else you got,
That's
John?
beautiful, Weeze.
That's from
we
Brett
have one more.
Gilbert. That's
Oh.
Brett Gilbert's jokes.
Okay, that's good.
It
Full
says, this is from Crystal Alexis.
Fake name.
That sounds like a car.
It so is.
Automatically. That's from Russia.
That's someone
Yeah.
who uses their middle name as their last name. I'm
Right.
not.
It's that kind of fake name.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think hashtag Jane the Virgin needs that guy's voice telling the story. It makes it feel like a soap opera. Kind of annoying.
Oh, Crystal.
Really?
Okay,
I
but
mean-
it
Really?
is a soap opera.
It is a soap opera.
It's a
so
telenovela.
Telenovela.
yes. That's. I think that's what they meant. That's
Right.
what they
That
meant.
is what
Because
they
there's
meant.
always everything has subtext. As an actor, you know this.
Right. What they
And
meant is
tweets,
thank you
all
for
tweets have subtext.
illustrating what this show genre
Yes,
is.
exactly.
Hashtag
Brilliant.
awareness.
Yes.
Yeah, that person also didn't finish it too. What they meant to say, although I don't like soap operas, I love Jane the Virgin.
Yes.
All right, but see, with
They
Jane-
need to increase their 140
They do.
character. I think
They do.
they're working
I
on
hear
that.
they are.
But-
They're
Yes.
working on that.
Jane the Virgin is so much more than a soap opera because it is a gentle parody of a
Yes.
telenovela
Yes.
with all kinds of wonderful overlapping themes
Yep.
that help us understand the human condition.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. You basically
It
encapsulated
is
the wisdom of the writers.
The actors, well, first of all, the writers are brilliant at
Yes.
what they do because what's crazy about the show, for those who haven't watched, I implore you, like I'm talking as a fan of Transparent and like I like very dark, weird stuff. This is not my kind of show.
Okay.
I am obsessed
You're
with it.
obsessed with it.
And the reason is this. I know I've made that abundantly clear, but this is the reason. It's so well written and so smart and so over the top and
Yeah.
understated at the same time.
Yes.
The actors are so nuanced. It's crazy.
Yes.
They're just like they're playing so hugely evil and so and so hugely lovely and everything's so big, but then they're still making you believe it and root for them.
And Gina, I mean,
She's amazing.
if you look at this, I know everybody says this about their TV show, but I swear to you, this season, everything's elevated from the writing to her performance. I think because of either the topic or where she is, it's just been almost underrated in terms of her performance, what she can bring to it. She can, in one scene, bring comedy. In that same scene, her heart is so broken, and you can just see it. You cry with her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
she's
she is
just raw. Yeah.
she is exactly. She exposes herself in this show every week, and I've been on set to watch her, and it's a single camera show, and as you know, there's a million takes for single camera shows, and she hits it every
Wow.
single time. It's
Wow.
amazing. Yeah.
So Lisa would love to carry your script, or I think
Coffee.
she can be so helpful.
Coffee, yeah.
In the trenches, really.
Yeah.
All right. So what else were we going to do? We did the mean tweets. Let me
I think
check
it would
my.
be great on the show.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I auditioned for a co-star and did not get it.
Oh, you auditioned? No kidding.
I did.
Which part did you audition?
And I don't go out for co-stars, Joe.
That's right.
Okay.
No, it's leads or nothing,
well,
baby.
guest stars.
Okay,
Yeah.
guest stars,
But really
okay.
not anymore.
Yeah.
Now
So-
I turned 45 and now it's all co-stars. Huh?
So you came to this show from the world of voice acting, and,
Yeah.
and the audition came to you through the world. It probably went out to all voice
Oh, yeah.
actors.
How
Joe,
did
you
you?
auditioned for this, right?
Right.
He's perfect for it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. How did it
It was
come
just
to you?
another audition, and as you know, we get auditions, several times a day.
Did it
and
come
we-
through our agent?
Yeah, it came through
How
our
the
agent.
hell?
Yeah,
Why
SPP.
didn't I get it then?
Yeah.
What the hell?
No, it didn't come through our agent then.
No, I got this another way.
Yeah, it was another way.
Yeah. See,
Osmosis.
yeah.
So I got it one day from Anna when she was asked me. She was wonderful. She sent it to me after she had sent it originally to all Spanish native speakers. But then she was like, "There's somebody I'm missing." And she
Oh
said, "Let me
my
give it to
God.
Anthony." And I read
Thank
it,
God
and it
for Anna.
said, it's about a virgin who was accidentally artificially inseminated. And I was like, I'm not reading this. This is ridiculous. So I put it away. Then later on in the afternoon, the deadline was coming up. And I was like, you know what? Let me just look at it. So two things. and I've never said this before publicly. I've always said the first. Number one, the show was so layered and so well written. It moved fast, it moved slow, and it had heart. But the second thing was in the fine print, it said property of CBS. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this right away.
Well, I would have to say that it has elevated. I mean, the CW must just get down and go, oh, my God, thank goodness for Jane the Virgin.
Yeah, they don't give me enough credit. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to say they don't give me enough credit.
Yeah.
But they are very incredibly
Oh, my
grateful.
God. They've got to do everything for this show.
Not just a CW, more CBS, who is basically our that's our boss.
Right,
That's our
the
parent
parent,
company
yeah.
is a production company, CBS, and they have
Does
been...
Les Moonves then have control of some sort over...
He probably would. I don't know if he's that hands-on with property that ends up on the CW.
Yeah.
But I know that, and I'm also so far removed from that aspect of the business that I don't really know. All I know is that every time I meet somebody from there, they're very grateful. I mean, we are 2 Emmy nominations for Outstanding Narrator of the only nominations that the show, unfortunately, has received.
Really?
Wow.
And technically, I was the first actor, although I'm a voice actor, to get an Emmy nomination primetime for the CW. But for me, that's not enough, because I say, as you know, voice actors don't work in a vacuum. So if it was just the narrator, he'd be some crazy dude walking around talking about an accent. Starting with Gina, all the way around the cast. I mean, if they didn't ground, like you said, their performances, this show can fall apart because there's so much.
Yeah. It could be ridiculous.
It could be ridiculous.
Yes.
Which there were other shows that tried to parody telenovela, and they weren't able to do it the way that Jane the Virgin has, because I think because of the acting, because of the writing, because of the heart of it. So I get upset. Not that they didn't nominate me for a 3rd Emmy nomination, although I'm a little bit upset about that. But more so that they don't at least haven't recognized Gina.
It's really surprising.
It's really
Am I crazy, or did she not win a Golden Globe?
She won a Golden Globe.
She did.
Yeah.
Right, I remember.
Yeah.
Sure.
So if I could, if I don't get another Emmy nomination, I'm okay with that. But I just hope that before the show that they give her that.
Yeah.
Not only for that, but it's just. She's an amazing person, too, and everything she's doing and in terms of the shows, and it's just amazing.
But I think the reason why is because it does kind of fall under the comedy umbrella, and they often overlook those actors.
Well,
which is so
right.
crazy, because especially in a show like this, where you are being asked to
suspend all kinds of disbelief.
Oh, my God, and just... be so, like you said, grounded and true to your character in the most ridiculous situations. These actors are they're brilliant.
Yeah.
They're
I think in
brilliant.
terms of, I love the Television Academy for even having a category, because let's be real, the SAG Awards don't have a voiceover category. The deadline was this past Monday.
Which is shocking.
And I couldn't submit because what am I going to do? I can't submit. I mean, I could, I guess, submit for male performers or something, but come on, let's be real.
That is crazy.
Also,
that they don't have that.
So SAG Awards don't have a voiceover category, and neither do in film. If I was a film, neither do the Oscars. I don't believe.
Yeah.
So Television Academy, to me, and a lot of it is Bob Bergen and his work at the Academy.
Bob Bergen is the voice of Porky Pig.
And he was on the board of governors. He's running again now. Vote for Bob.
Vote for Bob. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's pushed a lot, to recognize, not only recognize voice actors, but recognize the specificity of it between narrators and things like that. So I'm grateful for that. And even though we haven't won, but still, I still feel that a lot of it has to do with the process. Voice acting nomination, they lock them in a room all day and they have to look through all the submissions.
Okay.
For the general population, they just kind of like just look and click. You're not required to
just assume that they have.
Yeah, so at that point it becomes almost like a popularity contest.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have an important question.
Sure.
Did you get a gift basket?
Did you?
No, there was no gift basket for being nominated?
Not that I'm aware of.
You
They
know
did
what?
invite
You
me to a
gotta-
bunch of
you
gift lounges, though.
You got to get into the
okay.
lounge.
Yeah, I
Oh,
did go
the
into a bunch of
lounges.
gift lounges,
Nice.
but I turned it down because I wanted to get back home to my kids. It was just too long.
Aw,
The
what
Emmy
a
week
sweet
is just
guy.
it became
Yeah,
that's
it's a marathon.
Yeah, so I moved here and I didn't get nominated, so I'm just like I'm going back now.
Oh, that's right.
know?
The 2 times you were nominated,
I
you were
was
living in
New York.
Jersey.
I moved over
in
here.
New York, yeah.
I was like, where my gift
What
lounge
the
is at,
heck?
yo?
the
And
hell?
nothing.
Damn.
Nothing.
That's
So
not right.
you're both voice actors.
We are.
Which means that you have to be kind of armed and ready for battle at any given moment.
Always. I'm surprised he's here, quite frankly.
So
He's
you have
probably
kind
missing
of
tons of work.
It's become increasingly impossible for people to record voiceovers wherever they happen to be. So I want to sort of talk to you about home studios or home setups, because I know people can really geek out on on sort of the specifics of how you make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your home situation look like?
It's gotten smaller and smaller because of technology, for me anyway. I know Joe has a different, because he has a radio background, so he feels more at home, probably in the console, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For me, I've been trying to get it down smaller and smaller. When I landed my big promo campaign with CNN for Latino in America, I was working off a Power Mac and I had all this stuff, and then it died 5 minutes before a session. Actually, it was about half an hour before a session, so I had to run out to Radio Shack and buy R.I.P.
R.I.P.
a notebook. And I bought the notebook, I connected it, and I worked, and I was like, I don't need to get a power
Damn,
Mac. I'm
yeah.
running off this $400 laptop.
Right.
So ever since then, I just replaced the $400 or $500 laptop
Yeah.
every 2 or 3 years. So I work off a laptop with a small interface, and I do have a rack that has preamps in it.
You got
And
a
I
hell
run
of a
it.
rack. I
Yeah.
wanted to.
Oh,
No,
thank
really,
you.
he does.
I
Why were you
appreciate
looking
that.
at me?
Right?
See what I did there?
Yeah.
That's
So
the kind
I
of-
run
it's
it.
kind
Let
of
me-
highbrow comedy. that
Let
I
me
do.
let me get this train back on the track. I'm a little uncomfortable here in the corner. My thing is smaller
And Joe, we have
than
Don't
Joe's.
even say it. Mine is much bigger.
mine is a B cup, so right on the nose, right on the nose. So Joe,
Yes, that's me.
I
John,
found-
what the hell?
John's right over there.
I
but
know.
John, can you cue up the video? I hope we have the right to play this because
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even tell you guys what happened when I tried to play the Pope in our show. Oh yeah, TED Talk and the Pope just.
Oh, no
Yeah.
kidding.
What happened?
They
You guys-
clamped
And
down on us?
Lin-Manuel, that was a rough week.
Really?
So you do have to be careful with what you play.
Wow.
Now that you have the
Wow.
rights to it. Yeah, because YouTube has they have
Oh,
like
we did
little,
the whole. We
little
interpreted
robots.
the Pope and everything. That was all gone.
All gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
I hope that whoever made this beautiful video,
Yes.
and P.S., if you make a video about a voiceover guy, there must be like a lot of pressure on you that you make him sound amazing. It's like if you have a store that sells doors.
if it's the
the
video
door
about
to
me,
the
I
door
don't think so.
stove
Yes.
better be the best door
That's
Yes.
true.
in the neighborhood,
That's true.
or
That is
like
true.
the
You
know what?
if you sell awnings, you better have a kick-ass awning.
If this
true.
is the one that I'm thinking of,
So-
it's kind of more about the studio itself and
Yeah.
what kind of equipment. And
All right, so this
I mean,
is.
you can roll it.
You kind of everyone's going to want to move in with Joe, so you can submit your requests.
You don't even
to
have
us.
to. Well, I guess you can have the sound up. Oh,
But
Joe
you
Cipriano.
have to make
They
Joe's-
spelled my
I've
name
always
right.
had this kind of
Oh, look at
See,
him. Gosh, he's handsome.
And he
Oh,
sounds
you haven't aged.
amazing.
Yeah.
recording studio.
Not at all.
In 1984,
Sometimes he's in black and white.
My
Wow.
wife had,
So that's my setup
given
right there.
me,
That's
great-
cool.
So I have a.
was a Neumann
I have a
QA7
416 microphone, which is a
and
shotgun
I'd always
microphone.
talked about having a home
What do you use
studio.
for a mic?
I got rid of the 416. I use a 8040, which is smaller. I told you it was smaller.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Made by Sennheiser. then, right?
Sennheiser also, yeah.
And there's my dog Sammy, who's no longer with us.
Sammy Cipriano.
But Sammy would spend all day with me in the studio. So my studio's in a guest house, and it was built. I have great windows.
You have to watch golf while you.
I love to have golf up.
Yeah.
And I have a fireplace. I had it on today, and man, was it hot. I mean,
Yeah.
That
really,
seems
Joe.
wrong.
ridiculous.
Don't turn it on today. No.
So my setup is more of it's a full-on digital
That's
studio.
beautiful.
Isn't that
Yeah.
beautiful?
But now,
Yeah, I work out of a walk-in closet.
You can
'cause,
turn it off now,
You know,
guys.
Okay, you can
Joe
fade
has a
that
few
down.
years on me in this business,
Right.
So I
In-
work out
in
of a
all-
walk-in
in all
closet
ways, yeah.
because working out of a walk-in closet. You never know when your career is going to collapse, and you don't want to
Right.
put all this money into building something, and then be like, "Damn it, I built this nice studio, and I don't have
Yeah.
any work." So I work at a walk-in closet, so
And
in
then-
case it goes to all hell, I can just.
Hang up clothes.
hang
And
up clothes.
pick
Yeah,
out
there
a
you
tie
go.
for your next job interview.
Right.
Yeah,
Very
that's what I think.
wise.
Yeah, see.
Well, that's a thing. I mean, it's true of actors as well. It's like, when is this going to end? And you always think somebody's
Yes.
about to tap you on their shoulder and go, "How the hell did
How
you
the hell-
get in
yeah.
here?"
If you're
Get out.
smart,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
think that way. I think, right? Because I think a
Yes.
lot of people in this
Yeah.
business get a show and they're like, "That's it, I
Oh,
made
yes.
it."
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
from here on in.
And then
it's
they
just
do it
going
for
to
2
go
years,
up.
and they go, "I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do film."
Right.
And then
Yeah.
they're
Yes.
You know,
no
that
career.
happens in voiceover a lot. I mean, you do, as an artist, want to find other outlets, and that's
Yeah.
okay too. But just don't take your eye off the ball, especially when voiceover is the one that's kind of bringing you, supporting your family and things like that. Because it happened to me a couple of times. I wanted to try different things. I wanted to do YouTube. I did notice the year that I was trying to do YouTube, my income decline.
Your
And,
voiceover income
Yeah. So now I
declined.
have other
Interesting.
projects that I do, but it has to fit around
Right.
voiceover.
Your voiceover
Plus, what I
schedule.
do is a little different than what Joe does because I think you still do affiliates or not, radio imaging, sometimes.
Local radio imaging and
So
local
I think
TV.
the possibility of them calling on Joe during the day is higher than mine. I can block out big because my whole idea
That is nice,
My
yeah.
whole idea of joining this business, I want to do as little work for as much money as possible.
That is a brilliant plan.
Wow.
That is a brilliant
So
plan.
I compared it to Bix and Mont Blanc. I was like, Bix sells a lot of pens, but
Right.
I want to be a Mont Blanc. I want to sell a couple
Right.
pens
There
to
you go.
authorized retailers. I
I
want to
love
have a
that.
bunch of
Smart.
agents.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but the whole thing is I don't do like affiliates or radio imaging, so I can actually block out some time
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it's not as...
But when we're out
Except
on the
Friday
road,
for
sometimes
movie trailers.
Friday,
Yeah.
of course, yeah. When we're out on roads, suddenly you have to do a voiceover session. So we always see this laptop.
Right.
That's my studio if I'm out on the road, and I'm sure Anthony has
Yeah, I have
something
it
similar.
Yeah.
And we have like a little interface that goes into the USB. You bring your microphone with you. I've done sessions for CBS in a car.
Wow.
Do that. A car is a great little studio when you
Yes.
think about it. You close the doors and you're in there.
I've made money in a car.
I bet in the back seat of the car it was
With
where
that
I
rack,
usually set
of
up.
course.
Yeah, and I was in Columbus, Ohio. I had just landed and it needed to do a session for the talk on CBS. And a friend of mine picked me up, and I said, "Let's just pull over the side of the road." And I'm setting up while he's driving, and I'm all set up and ready. And we hook up live. We use the cell phone. We use the data to hook up live and do the session to the studio. It started pouring rain. And in a car, when it's pouring, it's the loudest thing. And I was
No.
like, crap. I said, maybe we can get under a tree. He said, you know what? Gas station. He pulled under the canopy in a gas station, silent, did
Wow.
the
Beautiful.
section.
That's so funny because I the worst place that I've been is in a hotel room, a cheap hotel room. This always ends up sounding weird in the show. I don't know why. Everything
No
we talk
worse
about.
than the back seat of a car.
No. It was in a cheap hotel room next to an elevator.
Yeah.
Machinery.
That
So
rumble.
yeah, but there's a great program called Isotope RX5. I think they're up to RX6 now.
This is not a TV program, but
It's a computer
software
program.
Software.
And what you do is right before you speak, you give it a few seconds of noise, you record that, and then you just do your voiceover over the noise, and then you tell, okay, this is the noise, remove it from under my voice.
So it takes a negative of that.
It
and
does.
Holy
Yeah.
Isn't that
cow.
amazing?
and it analyzes your voice, and you have to do it. You can't do it too harsh initially. You can do
Yeah,
it.
I got to get that.
Yeah,
I do not
it's
have
amazing.
that.
It's
but
amazing.
Everybody loves that.
Yeah,
piece of-
John knows a lot
I
about
can
that.
vouch for that, too.
John has a home
Yeah.
studio. He's a musician.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
Have
yeah.
you
It-
used Isotope, John?
I have that too. I think it is
Yeah.
RX5 or
Yeah,
6.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Up, might be out to 6. It's not flawless by any means, but
Yeah.
it is a lifesaver when you need to get something done.
But I've used it for this show too, because when we do phone interviews,
Oh yeah, we
there
suck.
can be
Yeah.
just like tons of noise.
Yeah, spectral noise.
You
is
know, they
amazing
turn
with
it up,
yeah.
the Isotope, and it actually takes me out of the show. It's
yeah.
really
Yeah.
amazing how that works.
You know, Joe, they have plugins that you can talk and make you sound like Darth Vader.
Well, there you go.
It's a
I like
setting
that.
called the Ciprianoise.
So John,
Nice. Oh
Yeah,
my
actually,
God.
you-
You should make that happen.
You should let them sample your voice.
Yes.
and then it would put you out of a job, basically.
yeah.
have
Yeah.
you got the video of your studio? Because he turned his garage.
Oh, John's studio?
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Did you get the? Yeah, we're queuing that up right
All
now.
All right,
right.
we'll look
Oh,
at
But
that.
yeah, the theme song.
We have a guest that's going to be dialing in pretty soon, Weeze,
Oh, our
as
guest
well.
is calling.
Yeah.
Okay, watch out
yeah,
for
the,
the phone
the
ring.
theme song for this show, Louise and I recorded at my studio.
I love that
Yeah.
piece of music.
And of course, it's the
What's it
instrumental,
called?
but there's vocals.
It's
on
called Coffee Time.
Oh, that's called the
coffee
coffee song, and the lyrics
Coffee
say "Hold me like the hand that holds the coffee," because I kind of noticed
Wow.
that when you're holding coffee, you can't like also hold another thing with your other fingers. You know, you have to only hold one thing.
That's beautiful.
And that's like really
Hold me
love
like-
between myself and my coffee.
Wow.
Hold me like the hand that holds the coffee.
Wow.
And those are the lyrics to the theme song.
What
for,
would that be in Spanish?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I have no idea.
We don't have the video.
We're queuing it.
I know.
Oh, this is just so you can see John's home studio because
Yeah.
he like you turned your guest house into the studio.
Yep.
John doesn't watch as much golf, but he did turn his garage.
Well, yeah, it's a conversion. I did the complete opposite of you, Joe. In fact, my contractor wanted to put a skylight in my studio.
Right.
And my experience when you're doing music is when you're in studios that
God,
have
there's
a
Louise.
skylight.
Yeah.
I'm dancing.
Switch that. There's Louise.
Oh, that's cool.
That was the whitest dancing move I've ever seen. in
Hey,
my
that's
life.
Louise Palanca you're
Oh,
talking
that's
about.
Louise? Oh, my gosh.
That's Lily Fair, and she's singing on this song, and that's me. I can play
Oh,
the tambourine.
wee.
She's tambourine
I
queen.
play the tambourine in every
Do
language.
you do cowbell as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
and drums.
So this
That's my cousin Steven.
So this is basically the live room.
I love it. I love the color.
Yeah, it's
called Bright Orange
It's called Bright Orange
Studios.
Studios. Yeah.
Oh, smart.
Now, there's some shots inside in the video, maybe?
That's
what's
John.
that?
That's John. He played the drums on
Oh,
this track,
cool.
and that's Bob Cowsill, who's the greatest.
Nice.
Just the greatest.
Yeah.
And he's so cute to sing on my song. He sang on like 4 of my songs. I have an album on iTunes.
that.
But this is John's studio, and so
Very nice, John.
So what you don't see, I don't think we have any shots in this video, is the control room, which has all of the gear
yeah.
and the computers and everything.
Right. See, what we try to do is we keep the gear away from the microphone.
Right.
You know, and so I have like a little, what I would call a machine room, you know, where the gear is. But more and more, I mean, you really can do an
those things
entire...
are quiet as heck now. The
do
laptop,
anything you
yeah.
need off of a laptop.
Yeah,
There's
you really
no
can.
noise.
Plus, we're only doing one track. We're not like producing
Right,
anything.
exactly.
So it doesn't
It's not
require
like you're
a ton of
recording
power.
drums.
Yeah,
Right,
oh, yeah.
exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, I guess it does kind of like take out all the variables of when you know it's just your voice. Like,
Yeah.
how can I make this instrument sound the way it needs to
and not
sound?
only that, but because of the processing power. I remember when I had a recording studio, because I started thinking I was going to be in the music business, and I was like, forget this is too hard. I'm going to go to a voiceover. That looks easy.
You don't have to put pants on.
I don't have to put pants on.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, this is dressed
He
up.
did today.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
I barely showered.
Oh, okay.
So, you know.
All right, yeah.
But that might be too much.
Can
Anyway,
I-
the point is that you don't need as much processing power for one track of recording
Right.
as you do. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But do you find, and because when you guys were talking about like how you would troubleshoot, do you find that to be a voiceover guy in today's environment and culture, you have to be pretty technologically savvy?
I think you do.
And it didn't
Yeah.
used to be. We used to just show up and you know, they would set up the microphone for you and all of that. And it's not that long ago. I mean, we're talking
No, a few years ago
10
even.
years ago, if even.
Yeah,
But more and more, you have to know everything.
You kind of do. I mean, you also have it would also benefit you if you understood the at least the basics of audio engineering, like, you know, compression and things like that, simple
Right.
things, because or EQing, just so that you can control the sound in your room, not so that you can finish it for the mixer, because they want all the dynamic range and all that stuff. But I always think that you should know at least a little bit about the basics of audio and
How
stuff like
often,
that.
though, do you actually go to the place? Because I do
Very rare.
Very rare.
Really?
Very rare.
Yeah.
So because I
I'll
do I do some voiceover.
Yeah.
My dream is to be them. Like,
You
that's
have a
my
great voice,
absolute dream. But I book voiceovers
Yeah.
occasionally.
Yeah.
And the last
And you go in, right?
You go in, yeah.
No, I do them from home.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I
Oh,
have a
okay.
little
Nice.
Sennheiser mic in a walk-in closet.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
barely
okay.
a walk-in closet. And my husband used to record me and edit my takes and all that. And one day he goes, "What the hell? Get in here! I'm going to show you how to use
Let me
Pro
show
Tools."
you how to do this.
And I
yeah.
went, "I don't know how to do it." And he was like, "We've been married way too long for that to
No,
work."
that's not going to work.
Nice try. Yeah.
So now, I mean, I do the very basics, but I know how to use
Oops,
Pro
my shirt
Tools.
fell off.
Yeah. Oh man.
Then he's just filling me up and still teaching me
And
how
still
to use
teaching you
Pro
how to
Tools.
record.
Yeah, exactly.
Multitasker.
But the last 2 jobs I booked, which were over a year ago.
Okay. Are you listening, agents
Yeah, right.
and
It's
producers?
it's not their fault. It's
Okay.
mine. I've booked on my iPhone.
Yes.
I had to go
Oh, yeah.
in to do the
Audition
jobs.
on your iPhone.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
You have an advantage over people that are just voice actors, because we know there are a lot of people that are coming up now that have just wanted to be voice actors when that wasn't the case before, because you're an actress.
Right.
And that's what they want now. They want
Right.
somebody who can interpret this copy. So even if
Right.
it doesn't sound great for broadcast, the best casting directors, the best producers can hear whether or not you understand
Your
that
personality.
character.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But for me and Joe, I think the reason we don't leave as much is because, correct me if I'm wrong, the core of our stuff is promos and trailers.
And it all moves
And it
quickly.
also
You
moves
gotta
so
get it
quickly.
done.
So they call us to do stuff that's going to air like tonight.
That's
or even like in an
amazing.
hour.
And they want you
Wow.
to, you know, they don't say this, but really you should be done in 2 takes.
Yes,
And let's
yeah.
get the first take should be almost perfect, and second take we pick up the tonight tag.
And are
then we
they
move
on with you when you're doing it?
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
rare that you're recording it and sending it. It's almost
more
they're
and
there.
more you do that. Like when I do America's Got Talent and I'm the show announcer, I record with the executive producer on my end and then email it in. You know?
Wow.
But now Hollywood Game Night, Jane Lynch, I do go in for that. That's
Oh,
fun.
okay.
That sounds like fun, though.
Yeah, it is great. But it's not on the set. We go to the
Oh.
post studio and do it post. And Jane Lynch is there, which is
What does that
always fun.
record?
It's in Burbank at a studio I am not coming to mind right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's probably one of those undercover places
cool
that
little
looks
studio.
like nothing on the outside. You go in like, whoa.
It's the one
Yeah.
on Cahuenga West in the big building across from the Nissan dealership. Big glass building.
Oh,
It's a big glass building.
Yeah, so that
with microphones.
I think the point is that we have,
What an
because that's
idiot.
the core of the stuff. Like for TV shows, as you know, the voiceovers for TV shows, they usually have to do an ADR studio or hire the actress. This was the first time in prime time that they actually hired a 100% voice actor that works from home.
This is a lot of firsts.
man.
Yeah, a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for Jenny, that I think has opened up a lot. In the first episode of this season, they introduced a major character is Jane's love interest, and in order to bring him with enough weight, since we never heard of him before, they introduced his own narrator, a female narrator.
Female narrator,
Yeah, which is Vanessa Marshall. And I met her. First of all, I was fanboying out because Vanessa has done everything. Plus, she's on Star Wars and stuff. So, but anyway, the thing is that Vanessa also is used to working from home. So to me, it's great to see that has opened up, and I hope. Obviously, if Jenny does another show that has a narrator, she's going to look beyond just the on-camera actors. She's going to understand there's a lot of people that can actually pull it off. Yeah. So I think that's the thing. You can still do stuff from home. Yeah. But promos and trailers, and unfortunately, it's not unfortunately, it's just patriarchy's a bitch. Unfortunately, it's just there's not as many women doing promos and trailers.
But you know what has happened is live announcing, Emmys, Grammys, Oscars, 98% of those jobs are women. Just, again, 10 years, I did a lot. I did the Grammys, at Emmys. I did a lot of live announcing. You hardly hear, it's only Dick Clark Productions who uses Sean Caldwell, I think, a guy. A dude. And there are not many male live announcers anymore, so it's predominantly female.
There
which
was
is
a
good.
while on like VH1 and MTV. You always heard this girl.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's so weird. The tones for some of
Wait a
these
minute.
things.
Yeah.
You booked it.
It was
You
me.
booked that job.
It was me.
Yeah.
Tonight on VH1's Big in 06.
Please.
I know.
Put that in a demo.
No, seriously.
It's done.
All right,
But I
there
think
it is.
they do have to be careful with female announcers, because what happens is if they make her too sexy, then women hate her.
Well, that is a thing.
That's
Even
because
on
women are bitches.
Right?
Lifetime Network, which would, goes after a female audience, for a while they're using women, and then they changed and went to male voices. And it may be something like that.
It's just,
maybe it's a turn off every once in a while, but
right,
I don't understand
You
it.
don't want to listen to some slutty chick who's going to take your boyfriend.
Well, if you're going to do that over sexy thing, I don't know.
I think, I don't know. I
Really?
don't know so much. I think that part of it is, when people, it takes a big movement to move something that. It takes a lot of energy to move something that has already been standing.
Established,
established.
Yes.
And that
It takes
is
a long
part of it.
time.
It takes a long time.
And it takes also the generation to change and the people who are the decision makers as well.
Like I don't do network, like broadcast network, because this is the way I speak. I still have an accent, but my general market stuff still has a certain kind of swagger or edge to it.
Oh, yeah.
So I can straighten out my read and do general market-ish stuff, but I won't be able to, let's say, for example, Joe's work. So because in certain
Thank
turn
God,
of
'cause
phrase,
he's taking everybody's work.
Yeah.
that'll never happen.
But if we were going to line up like voice actors that we'd like to punch, ahead of all the sexy girls, I'm going to put the guy who says, if it's not all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face. Like the,
What is
like
that?
the dude,
The,
Jack in the
Carl's
Box,
Jr.
dude, or is it Carl's
It's a very
Jr.?
duty.
Like,
hey, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I haven't
what
heard
is
that.
this?
Carl's Jr.
He needs to be punched. Can we all punch him?
I
Yeah, I
actually
never
heard an
heard of that.
interview with him on a radio show somewhere, and he actually talks like that.
Does he
That's his-
really?
yeah.
I was going to say it's not his fault. He's
No,
probably
he
putting
does.
on a voice.
Not
Yeah.
a fan of Dude Man.
Yeah.
Now, I was
Not
going
a
to
fan.
say, based on what you were just saying, Anthony, is that 10 years ago, who would have thought before Aaron Andrews that you'd see so many women on the sidelines at NFL
Yes.
games
Yes.
and
Interviewing
in the locker room and
yes,
all that. Yeah.
all of that.
And
You-
actually
you-
anchoring too. I was just
Absolutely.
watching last night Monday Night Football.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You
cool,
would have,
yeah.
you would have
Yeah.
said, there's no way. I don't want to hear a woman talk about sports
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And once that starts being normal, that's
Yes.
the
Then
thing
you-
now.
That's
Yeah.
what has
If
to happen. It
that's-
has to
It
become
goes back
Absolutely.
to Louise saying that, we are complicated beings. We're more than one thing. Like, for example, I don't watch football. I understand, first downs and things like that. I understand the basic rules, but I just don't, unless the Giants are in the playoffs or something, then of course.
Yeah.
But,
Really? You're from Jersey.
yeah, I know. But I was
no
never, I was
sense.
more of, I'm a geek. I was always reading a book. I can tell you all about, stats and things like that, but I don't really watch. I watch basketball and stuff like that. So, there's a certain expectation I think people have. Oh, because I'm a dude. It's crazy. People walk, for years I faked it until I was like, I'm tired. I'm just going to admit I don't watch it.
I don't watch football.
Because it's exhausting. Because then they start talking about these complicated moves and trades. I was like, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
It's the same with politics because since the election, I obsessively watch CNN and MSNBC, and it seems like there's as many women with shows or women reporters on Capitol Hill as many women as men now.
Yeah,
and that's all been completely normalized.
Yes.
Like, I do care about what this person has to say because she's earned my trust. She's earned my trust.
Yes.
If you look at old network broadcasts and the anchors, of course, were always men. And it was so when Barbara Walters was with Harry Reasoner, I think, back in the 60s. She was the co-anchor, and it was like,
that was a big deal.
Oh, yeah, and he gave her a lot of shit.
Oh, Harry.
Yeah.
But hopefully we're going to get a call from your friend, Joe, but I think we need to...
The phone did not ring, did it?
It did not.
No.
So
do you still want to do the things we found online?
Let's do it. We've got a few minutes because, Joe, we brought this clip that you found online.
Yeah,
which is
I came across this earlier this week. It is the oldest color video in existence.
Oh.
And
Wow.
it's from May 22nd, 1958. It was during the dedication of the brand new NBC Washington Bureau at 4001 Nebraska Avenue, and I know it well because I worked there from 75 to 79, and it's where I met my lovely wife on her
there
first
she
day.
is. Oh, no.
There it is. That's that's President Eisenhower, who was my first wife, and and so it's the oldest color videotape in existence. It's in the National Archives and whatever.
And by color, there are still white people in it. Just want to make sure
Right, and
that
if
we
there's one
understand
person
that.
who didn't necessarily need to be in color, it's President Eisenhower.
true.
Right.
Because it's pretty much
It's
the same thing.
in black and white.
There you go.
Oh, there he is.
What's interesting about this is they put up the color bars at the beginning. This was recorded down the line from Washington, D.C., 3,000 miles away in Burbank in 1958. Wow. And it's amazing quality. Now, the opening is in black and white because they're live and they're outside the NBC building.
Right.
But it was a live broadcast, the dedication of the building. And David Brinkley, who was a legendary newscaster
Huntley and Brinkley.
of the Huntley-Brinkley report, comes in, and he is kind of like the host of that. That's 4001 Nebraska.
Wow.
I spent about 5 years working there in radio.
And that's where you met Anne.
I met Anne there.
I love that
Yeah.
story.
Wow.
She had no idea who I was.
But she fell in love with you.
And that was kind of a big deal, But
Yeah.
she was living under a rock. It's Stuart Findlay talking to you from... So, guys, if you could fast forward to 5:05 into the tape.
And who knew that YouTube has been around that long?
Shocking.
It's amazing.
Here, listen to David Brinkley here.
As we say, it got off to a shaky start. The microphones in the early days in this business looked like big black shoeboxes, and the announcer on the inaugural broadcast talked into the wrong side of it. Since then, with a good deal of work, we have managed to improve both the microphones and the announcers.
There you go.
There you go.
Chicka-boom.
Boom.
David Brinkley was comedic, and he was the king of filling air,
God, and the voice is. Do you not find it interesting, especially as a voice person, when you hear voices from the 50s and 60s? They are different voices.
Yes.
Different
Intonation,
styles,
yeah.
intonations, and the way
But
they
do you
speak.
think that people
I
spoke
love
differently
it.
in real life, or they just thought that was the way they needed to present
Well,
themselves?
it was like
Things were more
actors
formal.
in the 40s, kind of American actors, kind of put on a British
Yes.
or some sort of...
You're right, Joe.
Yes, there
when
it
you
is.
think about it, everybody talked like this.
Isn't
and
that
they
amazing?
began every sentence with "say."
Yeah, it was an
Say, Joe.
affectation
Yes.
that made it classier.
Right.
And
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. It's
So
a
And
where's the
I
theater
think
thing.
the announcing was more stilted and... Well, you probably can do any number of...
Yeah, I
Old-time
all of my
announcing.
AMs. What is it? TCM auditions, and
Oh, yeah.
the one that I did, Roberto Rossellini, was like that.
Yeah.
It was, it was
that's-
very stilted, kind of Roberto Rossellini, and finishing off every word and
tightly
stuff.
Clipping it.
clipping
Yeah.
each word.
Where's
We have
where's
the color now.
part? Oh, we have the color. Okay.
Oh, so here this is
This is President-
Sarnoff, the president of
transmitting a
NBC.
black and white picture. By pressing this button, which I now do.
Button.
It's like when
Color
Dorothy, her house landed on the thing, and then it was
Sarnoff
colored.
was there. He pressed the
He
button.
pressed that button, and that's
and
how she did it. That's
Can
amazing.
you imagine though being alive in 1958 and seeing that on your?
Oh my God, yeah.
But although didn't most people probably still just have a black and white TV?
Yeah.
You gotta get the
Yeah.
color TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Gotta
kids
get
asked me
color
the
TV.
other, how was it when the world was black and white? And I was like, well, the world wasn't. Never mind.
Wasn't the world that
Yeah.
was black and white.
Yeah.
But
I
it
used
was
to ask
awful.
my mother the same
But Lisa,
question.
Really?
what about the people that were at home watching a black and white TV and Sarnoff says, and now it's in color, and they're like,
Mine's not working.
no, I'm not kidding.
But wouldn't
Mine's
most of the
not
people
working.
wouldn't most of the people be watching black and white when that
That's
came
it.
out?
That's
what
what
we're
we're talking
saying.
about.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
A lot of there were like 3 rich people going, "Oh my God, this is amazing!"
This is
With that accent
fabulous.
that we talked about. With
Yeah.
the accent we
over
talked
at
about.
the
Yes.
Love
Vanderbilt
this.
mansion, everybody went nuts.
Only people with accents, theatrical
Right.
accents, had color TVs.
Jerry,
back
get
then.
in here. Everything's
Yeah.
color.
So I actually, when I worked at NBC,
Anderson.
This is amazing.
there's David Brinkley right there. When I worked at NBC,
There he is.
one of our programming assistants was David Brinkley's son, John Brinkley, who we were going to have on the phone today, but unfortunately something happened.
wonder
I'm
what
not sure
came
what
up.
it is. Yeah.
Maybe
he
the
probably
Vanderbilt's
got a
called.
big gig.
Yeah.
And couldn't
Oh,
do
that's
it.
what happens.
He's
You
a
have to-
writer.
you
He
have
writes
to go
for
into your
Forbes.
closet and make
He's
a
a
voiceover.
speech writer, and
Wow.
so he had some. He was going to tell some stories about David Brinkley, which at
I
some
wanna
point
hear them.
we can.
Oh, that would
we
be
can pick
awesome.
up on. Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap up today's show,
Yes.
which has been just
No.
extraordinary. We have to because there's another show comes in.
Oh,
wow.
That's right.
I heard the doorbell ring, and here I am.
Is that the name of the show? I heard the
I heard
doorbell
the
ring.
doorbell ring.
Yeah.
The show is called Journals Out Loud, and it's all about young people and how to do life and things.
Oh,
And so you
Awesome.
should check it out.
yeah, but our show's better, isn't it?
It's
Well,
my
our show's
favorite.
about older people.
It's my
Right.
favorite.
More, I should say, more experienced.
Yes, more
Experienced and
experience.
yes,
More
They actually
matured.
talk.
Matured.
They actually talk more about sex on that show.
Oh, really?
Makes
Oh.
sense.
Well, let's
And
start
I'm not
that.
qualified
Oh,
for that
come on.
conversation. All
Well,
right,
we're
so the
all
thing I
married,
found
so,
out,
yeah.
did you guys check your calendars because Halloween is right around the corner?
Oh my God! You're right.
Tuesday.
And so
Yes.
I Googled the words wrong baby costumes.
Ah.
Oh my God.
Just because I felt like it. And
That's a great Google search.
Thomas, right? And that's what you can do with the show is just Google something and see
Yes.
what comes up.
And
And
what-
then
what
you
pops
found
up?
it
so
online.
much fun. And this lady has a blog, and so she's amassing a collection of costumes that are
Bad
just
baby costumes.
just plain wrong.
Yeah,
Can you find that link, Thomas? It should be the last link in your attachments.
it's always the last link,
It's the
isn't it?
last
Yeah.
link you would think of.
Always the
It's
one.
that SEO.
Yes.
Join us next week when we Google PPDPP. I don't know. What the...
While
trying to
we're
think-
waiting,
Yeah.
how do
Yeah.
you guys
Please,
feel
Lisa.
about people who put their dogs in costumes?
Oh,
Not
my.
good.
I've
Not
never
good.
done
Not
that.
good.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
No.
No.
And I had even had a Shiba, which apparently are like the best costume dogs, but I never wanted to.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not even good about dogs and sweaters in general.
Yeah.
Well, some of the
Little
little
raincoats.
chihuahuas need them because
They
they're
do?
they
Also, when
very
when,
cold.
when
Yeah.
it snowed in Jersey and they treated the salt, you did have to put pads on
Little,
them to
Yes.
little
protect them from the
booties
salt.
on
Yeah.
them so
But
they
that's
wouldn't get
different than,
that's
like-
different than a.
I hate
Yeah.
it when
Yeah.
people dye their dogs pink and stuff.
Right.
It's like I get it
Yeah.
if you want to do that to yourself,
Right.
But your dog
Don't
doesn't
do it
want.
to the
No,
dog.
it
Yeah,
makes
I don't
me
know.
sad.
Dog.
Did you? If you guys have all raised children or are in the middle of raising children,
And
so
dogs.
what's
And dogs.
Is
Yeah.
there
Dogs.
any? Is there any person who is too young to costume?
No,
No.
No, you
Like when
can-
Garrett was 6 months old, we put him in a black cat costume.
There you go.
And it was
But
just like an adorable onesie.
There is. I wouldn't put anything like face paint or a mask on them, but I would put them in some.
Put 'em in- yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
something
Right.
cute.
Pajamas.
Like, that's cute.
All right. So what do we
Yeah.
got? Scroll down this blog.
All
Read-
right, let's see.
Thomas, who's the?
Whoa, is that
let's give
Santa
credit.
Claus?
Let's give credit to this blogger.
That's a shark, I
What is her
think.
name,
Where
Thomas?
credits due. Oh, let's see.
Let's give her credit.
Let's see. Torsia Shingler Baker.
So
That's-
because she
that's a
did she
lie.
did a good job
Oh,
curating
okay.
costumes. So scroll down, and so this is like this. The first
Oh,
one
no.
is a baby that she thinks it looks like a
it's
baby who has been eaten by a
Eaten
shark.
by a shark. But really, it's a
Yeah.
shark.
That's
It's
hilarious.
It's a
And
shark.
That's a good
and
point.
so then this is, of course,
Candy
you can
gram.
you can boil your little sister.
Oh,
as a
my
lobster.
God,
Yes.
that's wrong.
That's tragic.
Just plain
It's
wrong.
really wrong.
This baby looks like she died. It's
Yes.
I guess it's Snow White having eaten the poison apple.
The
Oh,
apple.
God.
Maybe a little
And
too
then-
far.
That's a baby
Yeah.
in a bucket. What is that?
I'm not sure
Can't
what
tell
that
what
is.
that
I'm
is.
too
She's
far
in
away.
a shopping bag.
She's in a shopping
She's in a
bag.
shopping
yeah.
bag.
She got a
Shopping.
2-for-1 deal, maybe.
And then,
Oh, no.
and then this is my favorite. It's your baby is trapped in a mouse trap.
Mouse
That's
Oh,
hilarious.
Can you click on that
No.
picture so we make that full? So
Oh,
this is
there it
what
is.
I want to go as.
I
think
kind of like
that's
that one,
brilliant.
though.
Kind of looks like you, Louise.
See, I think as long
Yeah.
as the kid's comfortable
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
happy,
And
you're
you
fine.
can-
And as long as the thing actually works, so in case they misbehave, you can press a button. And other than that, I'm totally for this.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
That's brilliant.
I like and the ears, the mouse ears.
so not wrong, not so wrong.
Yeah, that one's not so
Well,
wrong.
All right, happy Halloween.
It's a little cheesy.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Cheesy.
Thank you, Anthony
Wow,
Mendez. You're the
Anthony.
best cat.
Yes.
Love you.
Yay!
Love you.
Yay! And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I want to thank John Maddox,
John.
Thomas Hubble,
Thomas.
Joseph Briano,
That's me.
Lisa Arch,
Lisa Arch.
Anthony Mendez, and Larry Morgan.
Larry in absentia.
absentia.
But also,
And Louise Palanker.
And
Louise
Louise Palanker.
Palanker,
We are
ladies
things
and
I
gentlemen.
found online.
Yes.
Tifo, please subscribe and like and give us a good review because we are your favorite podcast and you're our favorite listener.